Ah, Watson. Did you meet the widow Amherst?
Yes, I did.
And did you chaperone Henry Moncrief on his rounds?
Yes, I've just come back.
Well?
Well, Mrs. Amherst says her marriage was a happy one, and her husband left her well off. She did say he seemed to have had something on his mind prior to the night of his death, but he wouldn't say what it was. She referred me to her solicitor, Mr. Haswell.
And did you see him?
Yes. He doubts that Amherst committed suicide, and he said Scotland Yard is still investigating, which I didn't know.
Interesting. And what else? You're saving the best for last, aren't you?
What do you mean?
You have more to tell. Oh, come, Watson, I can read you like a book.
Well, I may have seen him myself.
Who?
I saw someone who vaguely fit Amherst's description, and I gave chase, but he vanished. And then, as we crossed Waterloo Bridge, I saw someone again who fit the description, perched on the bridge rail, right where Amherst jumped.
And how did Moncrief react to that?
I didn't see him. He had his eyes shut.
Too bad. Well, are you now converted to a belief in ghosts? Shall we book a séance or two?
Don't make light of it, Holmes. I don't know what I saw, but I did see someone. And I know that Moncrief isn't having delusions.
And I agree.
You do?
I've spent an informative day myself, the result of which I expect will bring this case to a conclusion tonight, with your help.
Holmes then busied himself with writing materials and a concoction of foul-smelling chemicals for the next hour. Then he made up a small parcel and gave it to a delivery boy he often hired, along with a generous tip.
And now, what say we see if Mrs. Hudson has any of that mutton left over? I'm ravenous, and we have work to do at midnight.
By 10 o'clock, we had finished our supper, chatting about inconsequential things. Finally, he suggested I get into my warmest clothes and some wading boots, and bring my gun.
By no later than 11, Watson, you are to take up a position just east of the north end of Waterloo Bridge, down on the Victoria Embankment in front of Somerset House. Conceal yourself and keep watch.
For what?
A solitary fisherman.
At that hour?
You don't know what he's fishing for.
And so, at 20 minutes to 11, I left Holmes and took a cab down through Bloomsbury to Waterloo Bridge. Fog was rolling down the Thames, forming halos of light round the street lamps. I found a nesting place beneath the stonework at the end of the bridge and settled in to wait for... I didn't know what. 15 minutes later, a fisherman lumbered down to the embankment. He carried a wicker creel and a jointed fishing pole, which he patiently assembled. Then he dropped his line in the water and sat on the edge of the seawall. He was an older man, wearing a hood over his head. In a few minutes, another man walked down from the road toward the fisherman, approaching from the back. I crept out of my hiding place and followed him. The fog was wafting up from the river. Then the newcomer spoke.
Well, a boy delivered your putrid note, and I'm here.
I see you are, Henry. My apologies for the smell. Everything I touch smells that way. Now.
I've hired Sherlock Holmes. If you're real, he'll get you.
Even Sherlock Holmes can't help you now.
Your voice doesn't sound the same.
Being dead changes one, Henry. You'll find that out.
I don't believe you. Let me see your face.
You don't want to see my face, Henry. There's not much left of it after what you did.
You left me no choice. You were going to report me.
So you went from thievery to murder.
What do you want?
I want to hear your confession. It may help save your soul, if you have one.
And then you let me alone. Say you'll let me alone.
You won't ever see me again.
All right. I stole from the company. I stole your half of the earnings, and then when you found me out...
Yes.
I lured you out here to the bridge, and I smashed your head with a hammer, and I pushed you into the river. There, I've confessed it. Now let me go.
I think not. Watson, train your gun on him.
You're Sherlock Holmes. You tricked me.
Along with 6 Scotland Yard policemen made up to look like your victim. Ah, and here they come now. You see, Watson, I learned that Scotland Yard had been laying their own trap for Moncrief, stationing men along his usual routes through London, dressed as Amherst had dressed.
And your plan to force Moncrief to admit his guilt was the final touch.
Yes, but you and I will no doubt be called as witnesses for the Crown, and Moncrief's defence will surely be the insanity plea.
Yes, but if he was insane, it was his own crime that had driven him mad.
Yes, Watson, but either way, a grim lesson to those who would commit murder. The evil that men do lives on, after the deed.
The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes featured John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Also in tonight's story were Lee Posh, Dennis Bateman, and John Armstrong. Sound effects were created by Cheryl Jacobs and David Person, and our recording engineer was Jason Shavey. Incidental music was by Michael Lynch, with violinist Coral Sepulveda. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and appear in books and stories by him. Use of these characters in this radio series is by arrangement with the estate of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. The Mystery of the Patient Fisherman was written and directed by Jim French. This is Dennis Bateman speaking.
And this is Dr. John H. Watson. I'll have another Sherlock Holmes adventure to tell you when next we meet.
Oh, cabby! Cabby!
The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson, and the adventure I'm about to tell you occurred in the summer of the year 1902. By that year, Sherlock Holmes had acquired considerable fame. Several of my stories about him had been published, the newspapers reported his every success, and 3 years earlier, an American actor named William Gillette had begun appearing in a popular play titled Sherlock Holmes. Now, the story I'm about to tell you began on a warm August afternoon. Holmes had asked me to join him in sorting through the sizable stack of letters that had accumulated while he was out of London on the case of the disappearance of Lady Frances Carfax.
Finding anything interesting?
Did you know that the Royal Mail is being used more and more for sending out advertising? In every post there's a sale or an appeal or something else. Bulletins from this shop or that shirt maker. It's getting as bad as the papers. There ought to be some limit imposed.
Hello. Here's one from New York City.
And now I regret putting our true address in my stories. It's not a good idea at all. At the time, I never thought anyone would be so rude as to just come to gawk. Next, they'll be knocking on our door.
Hold on. Listen to this.
What?
It's from a New York theatrical producer, flowery letterhead and all. He's coming to London expressly to see me.
What about?
A new play about me.
Not another one. Gillette's play hasn't worn out its welcome yet.
No, it has with me.
Yes. You never did like it much, did you?
Well, it has me getting romantically involved in that nonsense, and you hardly appear in it at all. And Gillette even got Moriarty's name wrong, called him Robert instead of James.
So, altogether, you've had your fill of playwrights.
Those Americans. Listen to this. Dear Mr. Holmes, by the time this letter reaches you, I will be taking the fastest boat to bring for your approval a sensational play which will immortalize you and your techniques in detection. What does he know about my techniques in detection?
He's probably read some of my stories.
And I will have with me an accomplished actor of great stature, whom I trust will receive your endorsement to play yourself as no other actor, including Mr. William Gillette, has ever done.
Who is this chap?
In the interest of absolute accuracy and integrity, I shall solicit your most critical examination of the script. You will hear from me as soon as I reach London. Signed, L. Chesterfield Jones, theatrical producer.
Never heard of him. You ever hear of him?
Here's a P.S. Please rest assured that all financing to stage a first-class production in London has been secured, and this will include a generous royalty to be paid to you from every ticket sold.
Well then, Holmes, your future is secure. We had a good chuckle, and then went back to opening our mail. Holmes couldn't be called an immodest man, but the attention he received did please him. Sometimes, on our way downtown, he would tell the cabby to drive past the Lyceum Theatre, where Gillette's play was on the bill, and the title Sherlock Holmes was on the poster out front. I never knew what Holmes thought when he saw his name on public display, but his hat still fit his head. At any rate, just 4 days after the letter from New York arrived, we had our first meeting with the American, a flamboyant, portly man in his 50s, wearing an obvious wig, and carrying a costly alligator portmanteau.
L. Chesterfield Jones, Mr. Holmes. Thank you for receiving us. Obviously you got my letter.
Yes, indeed.
This gentleman with me? Oh, do you recognize him?
No, I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
He doesn't seem familiar to you.
I'm quite sure we've never met.
Well then, you don't see the resemblance? This is Arthur Pelton, the actor, and he looks enough like you to be your brother.
Mr. Pelton.
Oh, this is a great honor, Mr. Holmes.
And this is Dr. John A. Trotson.
Dr. Watson, I figured it was you. It's good to meet you. If it weren't for you, the world wouldn't be talking about Sherlock Holmes.
Well, that's very generous of
In fact, we wouldn't even be here if it weren't for your wonderful stories about Mr. Holmes. And speaking of that, if you have no objection, I'd like to get right down to business.
First, Mr. Jones, I question whether another play based on my activities would find much of an audience.
You're joking, Mr. Holmes. Oh, you're far too modest. The audiences in America have been clamoring for more, and before some inferior production comes along to answer that demand, I am pleased to present you with The Wizard of Baker Street.
The Wizard of Baker Street.
A perfect title, isn't it? Take it, it's your copy. You'll find it was written with particular attention to your remarkable talents of deduction.
Was it? Who is the author?
You're looking at him.
Again?
You're looking at him. I wrote it.
The typewritten script was bound in heavy leather and imprinted in gold, with the title on the cover. Jones removed a second copy of the play from his portmanteau and handed it to me.
Now, gentlemen, naturally I'll be anxious to hear your evaluation of my manuscript. Mr. Holmes, I especially want to draw your attention to the detailed way in which I have you connecting the clues and solving the case. Now, if I've left anything out or made errors in deduction whatsoever, please tell me and I'll fix it.
Before we go any further, Mr. Jones, does this play involve my personal life?
Oh, certainly. We make you an interesting, likable sort of fellow, which I'm sure you are.
No. To be more specific, is there a love story in this play involving me?
No. Bless your heart, Mr. Holmes. You remain as unattainable to the ladies as you are in real life, or at least according to what Dr. Watson writes about you.
Yes. Well, Watson was correct.
What sort of story is it?
It's partly historical, partly fictional. It begins with the interesting way in which you and Mr. Holmes first meet. It deals with Mr. Holmes' unusual ability to observe things others don't notice. The audience will actually see him doing this. It'll be amazing. And then a crime is committed, and he will investigate how it was done, and he'll deduce how to trap the criminals. And that's where I invite your critical comment, Mr. Holmes. I want to be sure I've got it right. By the way, I'm putting up at the Langham Hotel, so I'm not too far from here, and we can confer at a moment's notice.
Oh, the Langham, yes.
And if you'll give me your telephone number, I'll keep in touch with you about the manuscript.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, Mr. Pelton.
I've taken the liberty of bringing you a copy of my particulars, in case you'd like to see them.
Your particulars?
The plays I've appeared in, some of my notices.
Ah, fine, thank you.
And some photographs of me playing various roles. I would especially direct your attention to this one.
And what role are you costumed for in this picture?
Why, yourself.
Very colourful indeed. I suppose at one time or another I may have dressed like that on some case on a wintry day in the country.
Well, but according to William Gillette...
Yes, I know. According to Mr. Gillette, I never venture out of doors without my deerstalker cap, my Inverness cape, and my meerschaum.
I think that comes from the drawing Sidney Paget does to illustrate my stories.
Yes, that's it, exactly. That's how the public knows you, Mr. Holmes, from those illustrations. That's why I dressed that way for the photograph. But if you object...
You can pick out all of Pelton's costumes for my play if you want to, Mr. Holmes. We want to be absolutely true to life.
Oh, absolutely, by all means.
Yes. Well, gentlemen, all I can promise you is that I shall read your play when the opportunity presents itself. I'm quite occupied these days on several other matters, but if you're going to be at the Langham, I'll contact you when I'm free.
And with that, hands were shaken all round and the two men left. The moment the door closed, Holmes took up his manuscript, sat down on the couch, put his feet up, and began reading it. So I settled into a chair and did the same. An hour and a half later, I had finished reading my copy of the play and wanted to talk it over with Holmes, but he was still examining his manuscript, turning back to previous pages, devouring the writing as carefully as I'd ever seen him. And I got up, stretched, and went over to the gasogene for a tonic, but he didn't move. I think it was then, as I saw his rapt concentration, that it occurred to me that he might actually be considering the play, and my heart sank, because I thought it was 2/3 dull and tiresome. Well, Holmes?
You know, it has its points.
But nothing really happens to arrest the audience interest until the middle of the second act.
Yes, when the plan of constructing the blind is revealed. Up to then, we are becoming acquainted with the principal players.
Yes, in rather a tedious way, I thought.
Tedious? You're thinking as a writer, where the reader can control the pace of the story. Watching a stage play is a purely passive experience in which the story moves by itself according to the dialogue and the director.
Well, I, for one, was completely lost when the fellow called Marsden began constructing the building at the riverside and his daughter was being starved.
Yes, but to have explained what he was doing at the beginning would have robbed the play of whatever suspense it would develop, and would have given me, that is my character, nothing much to deduce.
But didn't you catch a bit of the Red-Headed League in the plot?
No, this seems quite original.
So, you're going to approve the production of the play?
I couldn't stop Jones from doing it if I wanted to, but why should I? If it's a success, I make some money. If it's a failure, I won't make money, but I won't lose anything, and my reputation will still be intact. You look puzzled, Watson. Is that a frown?
Well, it's just that I've never known you to seek notoriety, Holmes. What next? Be on the lecture circuit? Then what, the music halls?
Watson, I might think, if I didn't know you to be above such things, that you're becoming a bit jealous of Mr. L. Chesterfield Jones.
No, that was so much rot. True, I didn't care much for Jones's type, and it did surprise me that Holmes might consider lending his name to this play when he was so indifferent about the one already running at the Lyceum. And a day or two later, when I paid another visit to Baker Street, I found Mr. Jones there, with Holmes penciling notes on the margin of his script.
Yes, things are going along just fine, Mr. Holmes. I've contacted a costumer and commissioned a set designer. Meanwhile, now that you've read the play, what do you think of it? Is the plot feasible? Could Sherlock Holmes solve the crime? Be completely frank with me.
On the whole, I like it very much, although Watson has some misgivings.
Oh, you have, Doctor? What are they?
Well,
Did I put the wrong words in your mouth?
Oh, no, it's not that.
Well, how about the relationship between yourself and Mr. Holmes?
Well, it would depend on who plays my part, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely right. That's why I hope you can come down to the theater this afternoon. I'm auditioning several actors, and I'd like you both to be there.
Which theater is that?
Oh, didn't I mention it? I've booked the Imperial Theater on Tothill Street, Westminster. I like the looks of it.
He should have liked its looks. The Imperial Theatre was one of the most elegant theatres in London. Its entire auditorium was faced with marble and decorated in gold. Circular boxes flanked the stage, draped to allow patrons to view the stage without being seen by the audience. Holmes and I sat in seats on the main floor as troops of hopeful actors came in one by one to read parts from Jones's script. Then a chap named Edwards presented himself to read for the role of myself.
Now, if you would, Mr. Edwards, please take the stage and read the part of Dr. Watson with Mr. Pelton on page 40. Begin on Watson's first line, right up there at the top of the page. And be careful you don't scuff the chalk marks. My set builder needs them.
All right, sir.
Go right ahead.
Holmes, I've just come from the river, and the address you gave me is nothing but an old boat hauled up on the bank. It's no place for human habitation.
But if that's where Crandall lives, we must not let him become suspicious.
I'm sure nobody saw me. I took pains to dress as if I worked along the river.
This fellow
Excellent.
Edwards seemed by far the best one to play my part. He spoke his lines with greater realism, and I think Pelton, playing the part of Holmes, reacted most naturally to the way Edwards said his speeches.
Watson, someone is going to a great deal of trouble to convince the police that people and objects can vanish into thin air. But with your help, I mean to demonstrate that there is a rational answer to everything.
As the auditions continued, Holmes left his seat to wander backstage, at one point walking quietly across the stage, then returning a few minutes later with an air of electric excitement in his eyes. But he said nothing, and sat silently through the last of the readings.
Well, Mr. Holmes, what do you think of our play? Could Sherlock Holmes spot any clues that would give away the criminals? Could the criminals operate without being detected?
Oh, yes, indeed. I see no flaw in the production. It's all very cleverly reasoned out. I can't wait to see the curtain rise. The plan is all so simple, Watson.
Yes. The girl goes aboard a boat and disappears. The police assume she's drowned. But you find out the boat was especially built to hide her, and then you confront her father, who turns out not to be just her father, but a fellow conspirator. And all the rest of the story leading up to that is just inconsequential, as far as I can see.
It's simple on the face of it, but elaborate.
Yes, there's certainly a lot of talk leading up to Act 3.
Deliciously elaborate and bold.
Bold? I'd say it's a little overdone in
The
places.
secret will be in the timing,
I suppose the director will control that.
if he can pull it off. Watson, if I happen to be gone for a few days, don't be concerned.
Huh? Where are you going?
You should tell anyone who inquires I'm travelling on a case.
Really? What case?
Meanwhile, I encourage you to work closely with Chesterfield Jones and learn as much as you can.
About what?
About him. After all, Jones is the one we'll be obliged to for making us even more famous than we are.
Holmes gave me no inkling of what he was going to be doing, no way to contact him after he left Baker Street that same evening, with nothing but a small valise. So I assumed he would be staying in one of his 4 or 5 hiding places scattered throughout the city. These were rooms into which Holmes could vanish, and minutes later a completely different individual would emerge. Meanwhile, I took the script and attempted to see L. Chesterfield Jones. He wasn't in his room at the hotel, and the caretaker at the Imperial Theatre told me that Jones hadn't been back to hold any further auditions or rehearsals since the one we attended. But he did say there was an actor on stage at that moment, all by himself, practicing his lines, and he let me walk into the theatre.
Watson, someone is going to a great deal of trouble to convince the police that people and objects can vanish into thin air. But with your help, I mean to demonstrate that there is a rational answer to everything.
Then what is your answer to these crimes? If you know Holmes, why can't you tell me?
Who's there? Who said that? Who's out there?
It's Dr. Watson, the real Dr. Watson.
Oh, you gave me quite a start.
I'm sorry to interrupt your practicing, Mr. Pelton.
Oh, not at all, Doctor. I'd be glad for someone to read with me.
Well, actually, I came looking for Mr. Jones.
Oh, I haven't seen him today, but I understand he's busy making arrangements.
Has he hired the rest of the cast?
Well, I'm not sure.
I would have thought there would be carpenters and painters working on scenery by now.
And they may well be. The sets are to be built in a warehouse a block away.
Well, then how can you know where to move on stage without scenery?
Oh, I know my moves. The walls are marked on the floor of the stage.
When's the first performance scheduled?
October. Tell me, Doctor, what do you think of the play?
Well, it's very cleverly thought out. I just hope the audience understands the illusion.
Well, all theatre is illusion.
No, I mean the illusion that the girl has disappeared when she's actually hidden behind a huge mirror.
But that's the climax of the whole play. Sherlock Holmes sees what everyone else sees. But he goes beyond that by imagining the only way she could have vanished. And, as it says in one of his books, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Yes, that was in the Sign of the Four. Very good, yeah. By the way, Mr. Pelton, how did you become acquainted with L. Chesterfield Jones?
He saw me in the New York production of Sherlock Holmes.
The Gillette play? You were in that?
Yes, I had a rather small part. But Mr. Jones said he was doing a new play about Mr. Holmes, and would I like to play the title role in London? Of course, I jumped at the chance.
So if I were interested in learning more about Mr. Jones...
Oh, I'm sure the central booking office in New York could help you.
And so I went to the cable office that night and sent off a wire to New York inquiring about Jones. And the next morning I received my reply. L. Chesterfield Jones, unknown here, it read. Signed, New York Theatrical Booking Office. And so I thought it was time I visited an old friend, Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard.
Jones? An American? Never heard of him. Why? What's the complaint?
There's no complaint, Inspector. Holmes wanted me to find out as much as possible about him.
Any connection with the wire he sent me?
What wire?
He sent me a telegram last night, warning me to put extra men at the Tower of London and Buckingham Palace.
He did?
Didn't he tell you?
No.
That's peculiar.
And then L. Chesterfield Jones turned up at Baker Street, cheerful as ever.
I heard you dropped into the theater looking for me last evening, Doctor. I'm sorry I missed you. I was combing the streets of London looking for a type, and I found him.
What do you mean, type?
Well, you remember there's a small part in the play for a dock worker. He's the one who puts up the blind when the police are closing in, remember? Doesn't have any lines, but he has to look the part, so I took a tour of some taverns, and I found just the man. Now, what was it you wanted to talk to me about?
Well, I was just interested in how the rehearsals were going and the other preparations, the scenery, you know.
Oh, everything's moving right on course, Doctor. You can be sure I'm preparing a show that London will remember for a long time.
And that night, another message was delivered just as I was about to retire. It was a tightly folded piece of yellow paper, smudged and dirty, and on it was penciled the message, Tower of London, South Entrance, have cab waiting at 9 o'clock. Well, I knew it had to be from Holmes. So I dressed again and took along my old army revolver on general principles. And at 9 o'clock sharp, my cab drove east on Bywood Street Hill and turned south on Mansell Street, bringing me down to the south side of the tower. At 9:15, the street traffic became a bit heavier. A tradesman carrying what looked like a large wooden tabletop climbed out of a freight van, and he and his companion lugged it up to the entrance of the tower, where they paused to get their breath. I stepped out of my cab and walked across the street. Suddenly, on Mansell Street, a clamor arose. A horse and its rider, a terrified girl, clattered down the street. And from the various places of concealment, policemen emerged into the street, attempting to stop the galloping horse and save the rider. But it was too late, and they sped off in the direction of the Thames Bridge. But when I looked back at the laborers with the tabletop, they had vanished. The police, realizing they'd been distracted, now converged on the doorway and saw what looked like an empty hallway, until a cry came from the corridor and a smashing of glass. And where there had been the reflection of an empty hallway, there now stood the tradesman and the laborer and the shattered mirror. The tradesman's hands were in the air. The laborer had a pistol aimed at the man's head. I was by now not more than 30 feet away. As the crowd of bobbies converged with their truncheons raised, I heard a familiar voice call out,
"Watson, kindly tell these gentlemen who I am, and let me introduce them to Mr. Jones of New York."
So, L. Chesterfield Jones was arrested in the attempt to steal the crown jewels, and Sherlock Holmes, after identifying himself to Inspector Lestrade, rode home with me to Baker Street.
So, just when did you suspect the play was a ruse to throw us off the scent?
When I read the script about a kidnapping where a girl is made to disappear, I saw the possibilities for an actual robbery. When I saw the chalk marks on the stage, I saw a perfect plan to get through the 3 doors into the Tower of London. Jones brought it to me, hoping I could find a flaw in his strategy so he could correct it.
And the girl on the runaway horse?
Just another actor, paid by Mr. Jones to take the attention away from us as we put the mirror into position. And he paid me £2 to help with the mirror, after he found me in a tavern.
So you did some of your own acting. Oh, and Mr. L.C. Jones has a long record of arrests in the United States. Of course, the actors he hired knew nothing of that. Confidence games were his speciality. But this one...
Yes. I believe you said it best, Holmes. Elaborate and bold. He rented a theatre, he hired actors, he showed the script to you. What incredible bravado.
But imagine if he'd been able to pull it off. He'd have had the crown jewels.
Not in a million years, Mr. Holmes. Not in a million years.
John Patrick Lowry is Sherlock Holmes, and Lawrence Albert is Dr. Watson. Also in our cast were Phil Harper, Frank Buxton, Rick May, and Tom Hammond. The Wizard of Baker Street was written and directed by Jim French. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and are used by special arrangement with the estate of the late Dame Jean Conan Doyle. This is Dennis Bateman speaking.
And this is Dr. John H. Watson. I have many more tales about the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and I'll tell you another one when next we meet.
Oh, cabby! Cabby!
The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson, and the story I'm about to tell you concerns one of the earlier adventures in my association with Sherlock Holmes. The year was 1882. The previous spring, we had been occupied with his first 3 cases, A Study in Scarlet, School for Scoundrels, and The Adventure of the Dover Maiden. But, despite their successful conclusions, Holmes had yet to draw much attention in the press, and I was living on half pay and a small army disability pension, so that by the summer of 1882, our financial circumstances were somewhat strained. Then I heard from Anthony Moulter, an old comrade of mine from the Berkshire Infantry Regiment. He wired that he was in urgent need of my help, and I wired back to come ahead, and I mentioned it to Holmes.
Then it's some kind of medical matter?
I have no idea. I haven't seen Tony since I was shipped home from Peshawar back in '80. But the Berkshire Club keeps pretty fair track of the old regiment. They say he's been doing quite well for himself.
Well, then, I judge the fellow I see down there alighting from a hansom would be your man. Dressed to the nines and in a bit of a hurry.
Oh, well, let me have a look.
Too late. He's below our window now. But he'll be upstairs in a minute, and you can see if I'm wrong. And since he's coming to see you and not me, shall I make myself scarce?
Oh, not at all, not at all. I don't know how he found out where I am, but I'm sure he must know we're sharing the same digs. And at any rate, I wouldn't think of putting you out.
Most considerate of you, Watson.
I must say I'm curious. I don't know what he could want. We weren't exactly close. I seem to remember he could be a bit aloof, though I never had any trouble with him.
Is that so?
Yes, he was the sort who always stood a round of drinks for the other officers. Always seemed to have plenty of money.
Interesting.
He always carried himself well. We used to say he walked more like a colonel than a lieutenant. He was with the regiment at Maiwan, but I was injured, so soon after the fighting began, I lost track of him. And after they took me to Peshawar with the fever, I never saw anyone from my unit again.
Well, be sure to give me a sign if you want me to leave.
Oh, I will. I'll go. Yes, Mrs. Hudson.
Mr. Anthony Mulcair to see you, Doctor. He says you're expecting him.
Yes. Come in, Tony. Come in.
Watson, it's like old times.
Will you be wanting anything, Doctor?
Care for some coffee, Tony?
No, thank you. I don't think so right now.
Coffee, Holmes?
No, thanks.
Well, nothing then, Mrs. Hudson.
Very good, Doctor.
Tony, may I present my good friend and associate, Sherlock Holmes?
A pleasure, Mr. Holmes. Here, please take my card.
Gladly.
Let me take your hat and cane.
Just sit anywhere. We don't stand on ceremony here.
Thank you.
Well, now, what can I do for you, Tony? You look well. Your telegram said you have urgent business.
Yes, it is urgent. Confidential business.
Of a medical nature?
Medical? No. I come to you not as a patient, but an old friend.
Excuse me. Perhaps you'd prefer to conduct your business in private, Mr. Mulcair, since you've travelled in such haste from the East India docks.
How would you know where I've been?
Simple observation.
Well, you're quite right. I've just come from the North Quay. But how did you know that?
By the aroma of oriental spice on your clothes, I knew you had been aboard an East India ship. There is creosote on the tip of your walking stick and the soles of your shoes, and I knew the Bow Creek pier was being repaved. And the papers say a vessel from Bombay docked there last night with a cargo of cardamom. Perfectly logical deduction.
You astound me, sir. That was the very ship I was visiting. One of my clients is a spice trader.
Holmes is a consulting detective, you know. The first and only.
Oh, yes, I know. In fact, I must admit that the reason I contacted you, John, was because I thought I might reach Mr. Holmes through you.
Well, you've reached me. Now, what is your urgent business?
If I tell you, I'll be placing my reputation, my very life in your hands.
Nothing you may say will leave this room.
Well, all right. Here it is. I'm being blackmailed.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, as you know, John, I served in the Afghan war. In the very battle where you were wounded. The enemy overwhelmed us. Our lads were dying all around. It was nothing but suicide. I was terrified. I ran a few yards into the thick of it, and then I threw myself to the ground as if I'd been shot. And I lay on my face, pretending to be dead. Just a moment later, my batman, Sergeant Thomas Lehman, came. He rushed up, turned me over on my back.
Lieutenant, where were you hit, Lieutenant?
Leave me here, Lehman. Go on.
Sir?
Damn it, Sergeant, I wasn't hit. I'm trying to save my own life now. Just go on and keep quiet about it.
What?
I'll pay you when it's over. Now roll me over as if I'd been shot.
I ought to shoot you myself, you damn coward.
After dark, the tide of battle turned and the Afghans retreated. I got up and retreated with them. When they found a British officer among them, I was afraid they'd execute me, but I gave them all the money I had with me and convinced them I wasn't a spy, only a coward.
I say, Tony.
They let me go, and I was able to find my way back to our line. I made my way to regimental headquarters, and I made up a story that I'd been captured and fought my way out. Well, they believed me. And later, to my everlasting shame, I accepted the Victoria Cross. They awarded the medal to a coward. A liar and a coward.
And your Batman didn't report you?
No. Lehman said he'd keep quiet about it if I made it worth his while. So I gave him a few quid. 20 pounds, I think it was.
But it would have been just his word against yours.
Oh, no, John. That's the devil of it, you see. I've always kept a diary, you see, ever since I was 10 and away at school. I've written down everything I did at the end of every day, the good and the bad.
You don't mean you wrote down your...
My act of cowardice? Oh, yes. But the next night, when I looked for my diary, it was gone. Lehman.
Sir.
My diary, have you seen it? It's not under my cot.
That's right. I took it.
You took it?
For your own safety, sir. You shouldn't be leaving it around where it might be found.
Well, give it back this instant.
Oh, you'll get it back in good time.
What do you mean by that?
After it earns its keep.
You mean to blackmail me?
Well, why don't you turn me in?
All right. How much do you want for it? Well, that was 2 years ago. By now I must have paid him something approaching £1,500. And he still comes round for more.
Good grief. That's a king's ransom.
Well, of course, the sure way to foil an extortionist is by confessing.
No, Mr. Holmes, that's out. I'd be ruined forever. I can't face that. But a man as clever as you are must know some way to silence him.
And I just told you.
No, that's out of the question. Aside from the shame, I'd face a court-martial. I'd be clapped into prison, maybe even shot. Mr. Holmes, I'll pay you anything you ask if you'll get my diary back. Because if I don't get it back, I swear I'll kill him.
I confess, I was utterly disgusted by my old friend Anthony Moultaire, and even more so when, as he was leaving, he opened his purse and tried to pay us.
We don't want your money, Mr. Moultaire. I don't mean to be harsh, but your predicament is of your own making. Your future is up to you.
I see. Very well. Well, gentlemen, thank you for your counsel. I shan't trouble either of you again.
A week went by. Holmes immersed himself in various research projects while I spent the days writing my manuscript for the case I called A School for Scoundrels. But Moultaire's terrible admission kept haunting me. What choices did he have? What would I do if it were me? And then, one morning, Holmes unfolded the newspaper that Mrs. Hudson had brought with our breakfast.
Watson,
Eh?
listen to this.
What?
War veterans slain. The body of Thomas R. Lehman, a veteran of the Afghan War, was found in his flat at Franco Street, the victim of a vicious beating, according to Inspector Giles Lestrade of Scotland Yard.
Good Lord. So, Moultaire's done it. What else does it say?
It just says the Yard's investigating.
Ah, this puts us in an interesting position. We promised him our confidence, but we have evidence that we should give to the police.
What we have is a rash statement made by a highly agitated man.
You don't think he killed Lehman?
No, I think he probably did, but I know nothing. Shall we visit Inspector Lestrade and see what we can learn?
Gentlemen, what brings you to Scotland Yard?
We read about the murder of Thomas Lehman.
What about it?
Were there any witnesses?
No, he was killed in his room. He'd been dead a day at least before anybody found him.
The paper was rather vague. Do you have any suspects?
Not at the moment. What's your interest in this?
Purely academic at this point. Do you know the motive?
Robbery.
Robbery?
Yes, his place had been ransacked. Now, what is there in this that you find so interesting? Did you know the fellow?
Actually, no, but a friend of mine had mentioned him.
Is his body in the morgue?
Yes.
May we see it?
I suppose so. There you are. Look to your heart's content, gentlemen. I don't fancy gruesome sights as much as you do.
Watson, what do you see?
Well, the deepest indentation in the skull seems to be here, above the left ear.
Oh, that would have been the first blow. Notice the same mark at each point of impact, you see?
Yes. Yes, the left zygomatic has been fractured, and the parietal and occipital bones. He was struck again and again.
By an object with a ring around it.
There could have been 2 or more people who ganged up on him.
Only if all of his attackers were left-handed and stood behind him to deliver their blows with the same object.
What?
There are no wounds on his face, just the left side of his head and the top of the skull. How was he lying when you found him, Inspector?
On his right side.
And there was a chair beside him?
Yes, there was. How did you know that?
From the position of the blows. He would have been seated, and his attacker, standing behind him, swung his weapon at the back of his head in an arc from left to right. Lehman topples to the floor, very likely dead at that instant. Inspector, Watson and I should like to see where Mr. Lehman met his end. I hope your men haven't tidied up the place.
Now, Mr. Holmes, you know protocol forbids me from letting outsiders into the scene of a crime. It's enough that I've taken my valuable time to bring you down here. Obviously, you know something about this, and I want to know what it is.
I can answer that only when I've been to where it happened. And then I may be able to give you the name of the murderer, if, of course, you haven't already got him.
Oh, very well. I'll order a carriage.
Franco Street, where Lehman lived, was a middle-class neighborhood of substantial flats. Lehman's rooms were comfortably furnished, not what you'd expect a criminal type to live in.
All right. The body was here, and that chair was tipped over beside him. There was a big spray of blood off to this side.
Which your fellows thoughtfully cleaned up. What other little housekeeping chores did you do before locking the place up?
Everything you see is just the way we found it, except for the body.
And the blood.
Why do you go on about the blood, Holmes? We know he was bludgeoned to death. Any fool could have seen that.
When blood is projected from the human body, it can tell a great deal about the weapon and the person who wielded it. But all that having been obliterated, give me a few minutes to go round the place and see what I can find.
And he poked and prodded into every nook and cranny of the apartment, while I encouraged Inspector Lestrade to step into the hall and describe some of his most recent victories over crime, which he was only too happy to share, possibly in the hope that I would write one of them into a Sherlock Holmes story. Half an hour later, Sherlock Holmes emerged from Lehman's rooms, thanked Lestrade, and said we'd take a hansom back to Baker Street. And once in the privacy of the cab, I asked him what his search had turned up.
4 things stand out, Watson. Lehman knew his killer, but didn't fear him.
Knew him, but didn't fear him. Well, that could be Voltaire.
Lehman had a female friend who visited him quite frequently and left a few long black hairs.
Oh?
And I found another trifle, some bits of wax. And, let me see, there was something else. What was it? Oh, yes. I found Voltaire's diary.
You did what?
Complete with the final entry, dated Encampment, Maiwand, 27 July, 1880, in which he described his act of cowardice. Yes, it is definitely Voltaire's stolen diary.
How in the world did you find it?
By imagining where a man like Voltaire wouldn't have looked. A most fastidious man who wears elegant clothes, a man who just committed murder and would be in a distracted state of mind and would be in a hurry to leave the scene of his crime. So I lay on my back and swept my arm under every piece of furniture in the bedroom, getting extremely dusty in the process. And sure enough, the diary was jammed under the bureau, where it's been collecting dust ever since Lehman moved in.
Do you have the diary with you?
Right here in my coat.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, I suppose I could just give it back to him. I'm sure he would be most grateful and generous.
You're not serious.
It is his property.
And let him get away with murder?
No, perhaps you're right, Watson. There are some untidy remnants to address, such as this.
What do you have in your handkerchief?
Something suggesting that the late Mr. Lehman had expanded his business, and his killer may have found an alibi. But contain your curiosity, Watson, until we reach our rooms.
You're back just in time, gentlemen. It's not too early for tea, and I've just taken some biscuits out of the oven.
No, not now, Mrs. Hudson. Holmes and I have some urgent business
Tea is a wonderful idea, Mrs. Hudson. I have a ravenous appetite.
I'll bring it up in a minute. Oh, I almost forgot. What did I do with that? Oh, here it is, in my apron. This letter came by delivery while you were out, addressed to you, Doctor.
Oh? Well, thank you.
I'll bring your tea right up.
It's from Voltaire. His name is on the envelope.
John, by now you should have read the news, and no doubt you and Mr. Holmes think I did it. But rest assured, I didn't, and I can prove it. Anthony Voltaire.
May I see that?
Oh, yes, here.
Upstairs, Watson. Things are falling into place.
Now, what did you wrap in your handkerchief?
I'm about to show you. Careful, there are several fragments here.
Bits of blue candle wax.
Purple sealing wax from a sealed letter. Now, take my glass and look at the largest piece.
All right.
Can you see anything familiar in it?
What do you mean?
Look very carefully. See if you recognize that part of the seal that was stamped into the wax.
Well, whatever it was broken when the seal was broken.
Do you recognize it?
No.
Then take out one of your cards.
From my practice?
Yes.
Well, all right, I still carry a few.
Here, here's one.
Now, put it on the table beside the largest chunk of sealing wax.
All right.
Do you see it now? Look at the emblem on your card, and look at this scrap of sealing wax.
Yes. Yes, I see it now. This stamp was a caduceus, the emblem of the medical profession.
The staff of Hermes or Mercury, entwined with serpents.
Yes. Well, apparently, whoever sent this letter was a physician.
And not just any physician, because it's the custom for ordinary letters to be sealed in red wax.
What do you make of it?
Perhaps Mr. Moultaire can tell us. Let's wire him and tell him we'll be right over after tea and solve this little mystery.
At that moment, I wanted answers far more than tea. But while we waited for Mrs. Hudson, Holmes went to a book he used frequently, the Directory of Royal Appointments, looked in it briefly, put it away. When Mrs. Hudson brought the tea, he sipped it with great delicacy and sampled the biscuits like a gourmet, saying nothing more about his conclusions, all of which threatened to drive me mad. But at last we did leave Baker Street and rode to the exclusive address of Anthony Moultaire. Moultaire lived in a handsome townhouse in an expensive district of London. A smartly polished landau had been drawn up in front of his address, and when we were admitted by a manservant, we found ourselves in a spacious drawing-room occupied by Moultaire and a grey-haired man of 50 or so, wearing a Van Dyke beard and a pair of spectacles.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I was so glad to get your telegram. The events of the last couple of days were so upsetting to me, I wanted to set the record straight. Let me introduce you to my old friend, Andrew Carstairs. Andrew, this is Dr. John Watson, my old friend from the regiment, and his associate, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Won't you sit down? I have a well-stocked bar, and Jameson will fix you whatever you like.
And nothing for me, thanks. We won't be staying very long.
Nor I, thank you.
Well, all right. That's all, Jameson.
Very good, sir.
And just close the door on your way out.
Yes, sir.
It struck me that you might have seen the article in the paper about the death of my old batman, Sergeant Lehman, and drawn the wrong conclusion. And we can speak freely, gentlemen. Carstairs is an old friend. He knows all about my regrettable act in the army.
Well, your note said you could prove you didn't kill Lehman, and I, for one, would be glad to see that proof.
Well, John, I won't pretend I'm sorry he's dead. I swore I'd kill him myself, as you know. But on the day he was murdered, I was spending a most pleasant weekend in Danthorpe, at the estate of Mr. Carstairs. Isn't that right, Andrew?
Yes, that's right.
So, as you can see, I couldn't have been the one who killed Lehman.
No, not if you're in Danthorpe. Do you go to Danthorpe very often, Mr. Moultaire?
Not as often as I'd like.
I suppose you go boating?
Boating?
On the river?
We haven't been boating on the river.
Well, you really should take him boating, Mr. Carstairs.
Yes, I shall do that without fail.
And, of course, you know that Scandinavian sculptor who opened the inn, right there in Danthorpe. What was his name again? You know the inn, I mean, with the red and blue roof.
Oh, that one. Yes, indeed.
Is the food still as good as it was?
Oh, yes. Yes, excellent.
And the barmaid, is she still as charming as ever?
Oh, yes. Charming as ever.
Betsy, was that her name?
Yes, Betsy, that's right.
And you, sir, are a liar, and a rather bad one.
What?
There is no river at Danthorpe, no Scandinavian sculptor, or red and blue roofed inn, or barmaid named Betsy. I made them up on the instant. Do you know whom you're trifling with? I am Sherlock Holmes. And I know who you are, with or without the false beard. You are Sir John Malcolm, physician to the royal family.
No, there's been some mistake.
Yes, several. Mr. Moultaire, after you murdered Thomas Lehman, when he wouldn't turn over your diary, you searched his rooms and couldn't find the diary. But you did find something else. Love letters mailed by Sir John Malcolm to his mistress.
You know about them? I'm a ruined man.
So Moultaire, always the sharp businessman, took those stolen letters and decided to do some blackmailing of his own. What was the price?
He said if I'd be his alibi, he'd give me back my letters. I had no choice but to agree.
And did he give your letters back to you?
He said he'd give them back after I...
Lied for him. Watson, I think it's time to call Inspector Lestrade.
Right.
And by the way, Moultaire, I have your diary.
You have it? How long have you had it?
Approximately 3 hours.
I'll pay you anything you ask. Sir John, I'll give you back your letters. I'll do anything. I'm rich. I'll make you rich. This is our chance to make everything go away.
Yes, Tony. Everything. Except murder.
It's been a long day, Watson.
Yeah. One thing, Holmes. Since you never saw the letters, how did you know what was in them?
What would any important nobleman fear? Scandal. The most common scandal involves illicit romance. And the Royal Appointment Directory not only showed a photograph of Dr. Malcolm, it said he was married and had 3 children.
Yeah. I wonder how Lehman got his hands on the letters.
By wooing a black-haired maid or nurse who works for the doctor. He probably persuaded her to bring him letters the doctor had told her to mail. The woman left some hairs behind, and when Lehman broke open the seals, he left a few crumbs of wax behind.
I wonder who he wrote the letters to.
Tut, Watson. 2 reputations have been destroyed tonight. Why go for a third?
You have been listening to The Diary of Anthony Moultaire, written and directed by Jim French. The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes feature John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Also in tonight's play were Tom Hammond, Rick May, Lee Posh, and yours truly, Dennis Bateman. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and appear in books and stories by him. Use of these characters in this radio series is by arrangement with the estate of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. Our violin soloist is Coral Sepulveda. Sound effects are by Cheryl Jacobs and David Person.
This is Dr. John H. Watson. I've had many more adventures with Sherlock Holmes, and I'll tell you another one when next we meet.
Oh, cabby! Cabby!
The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson. It was November of 1894, and Holmes had just completed a case involving a golden pince-nez, a major clue in a mysterious death in Kent. On the 28th, a Wednesday, I had left our Baker Street rooms for a browse through the booksellers downtown, for I had planned to send a couple of my favorites to old friends for Christmas. I made my purchases and arranged for them to be sent, and then took a hansom back to 221B. When I walked into our parlor, I found it occupied by Holmes and 2 strangers. One, a sturdy older fellow in a rough tweed coat, and the other, a woman of the same general age, wearing traveling clothes several seasons out of date. Their ruddy complexions and well-worn shoes told me they were country folk, used to the out-of-doors, and not very well off.
Ah, Watson, so glad you're back. Let me introduce you to His Honour the Mayor and Mrs. Harkham of the Shropshire village of Wycherley.
How do you do?
A great honour, Doctor.
Indeed it is.
Let's all sit down again, and I'll catch you up, Watson. I assume you're not familiar with Wycherley?
I must confess I've never heard of it.
We're a small village, Doctor. Clear on the other side of the country, just over the hill from Wales.
The Harkhams have a dilemma. There is a woman in Wycherley who is the cause of great dissension, because she seems to know intimate facts about some of the villagers that no one ought to know. They call her, Madame Planchette.
Oh, there are some who think she's a witch, but here's the worst of it, Mr. Holmes. A fortnight ago, this woman predicted that one of our neighbours, Mrs. Llewellyn, would fall ill, and she did. She got sick and died.
Well, did a doctor see this Mrs. Llewellyn?
No, we haven't got a doctor.
So no one saw her?
She just got sick and died. That's all we knew.
My husband and I thought Sherlock Holmes might be able to get to the bottom of it and make things right again.
Yeah, but as I was telling Mr. Holmes, our village is a poor place, and we've barely enough of the treasury to sweep the streets. And heaven knows we're not rich people. But there's room in our cottage to put you both up if you'll come.
I told the Harkhams that the matter intrigues me, and I'd enjoy a few days in the western parts before winter isolates us. What do you say, Watson?
Oh, I suppose I could stand a change of scene.
Good. Then it's settled. There's a train at 3 from Kensington that goes west. We'll have lunch here, pack a few things, and be the guest of the Harkhams while we investigate Madame Planchette. Now, we shouldn't be interrupted for several miles. Tell us everything, Mr. Harkham.
Well, the trouble began.
First tell him about the Baron and the castle.
Yes, my dear. Wycherley has a castle, Mr. Holmes. Not a big one, mind you, but a castle it is, built in the 16th century by the ancestors of Baron Eugen van Krol. He and the Baroness also had a home in France, and that's where they spent much of their time until he was killed in a duel.
And so the Baroness decided to come back to Wycherley and live in the castle. And she brought a maid with her. A French woman named Monique Flavet. The Baroness had no children, but she treated Monique almost like a daughter.
Well, not long after that, the Baroness died and left her the castle. And Monique Flavet hired a young girl from our village to live there with her in the castle and act as her maid.
The girl's name was Emily Proyne. Her poor mother had just died bearing a baby, and then the baby died, and her father couldn't care for Emily by himself.
So the Flavet woman took Emily in, and the two of them closed up most of the castle, and now they live in the ground floor rooms.
Now, what about the trouble?
Well, there was the accident.
The first accident.
Aye, young Emily nearly drowned.
Fell through the ice in a pond just last winter it was, and when they rescued her, she was deaf and dumb.
Yes, I see water in the ear canal has been known to cause deafness.
And not long after that, the Mademoiselle married Emily's father.
Angus Proyne, his name was. We all thought she married him out of pity for himself and his daughter.
But one night, he fell off his horse and died, which left Monique a widow and Emily an orphan. Well, after a time, word spread that Monique was getting messages from Angus.
From a dead husband?
And getting messages from others in the village, too.
Of course, we don't believe any of that.
Well, a lot of people do. And she's giving readings in the castle using a planchette.
We'd never heard of a planchette, but it was supposed to tell answers to questions and predict the future and stuff.
Excuse me, what is a planchette?
It's a small heart-shaped piece of metal that can slide about on a Ouija board when two players place their fingers on it. Some believe it has occult powers.
How odd.
And that's why now everyone calls her Madame Planchette.
I see. And this aroused trouble in Wycherley?
Oh, aye, I'll say it did. This woman began telling things about some of the villagers. Private things. Things she shouldn't be knowing.
Such as when someone was coming to visit, or who was drunk last night, or who was having family troubles.
And pretty soon, half the town was getting readings from her.
Although the vicar preaches against it every Sunday.
Oh, but that doesn't stop the gullible fools from squandering their money to hear from their dead relatives. In earlier times, she'd have been burnt at the stake.
Yes, no doubt.
So this Madame Planchette charges money for her readings?
Aye, but I can't stop her. She's not breaking the law, at least no civil law that I know about. So we came to you, Mr. Holmes. You're our last hope.
But surely you have a constable?
No, it's only me what keeps law and order in Wycherley.
But there are fights in the tavern almost every night between the ones who believe in Madame Planchette and those who don't, and one of these nights, someone else will be dead.
The nearest station stop was Whitechurch, where we were able to hire a carriage to take us the 2 miles to Wycherley. As the road wound through the lovely countryside with the last of the autumn leaves blowing across our path, there opened to our view a narrow valley running roughly east and west. Rising above it on a steep knoll was the stone tower of Crawle Castle. There were a few homes and shops below the castle. In a few minutes we were inside the Harkham's cottage. We were all a bit fatigued from our journey, and so after a simple meal, Holmes and I were shown a small room they had prepared for us, and we retired for the night. Holmes, who chose the bed beneath the only window, had lain down fully dressed and pulled the blanket over him, folded his arms on his chest, and was as silent as a statue. My bed was soft, and the fire on the hearth was comforting, and soon I too drifted off. It was just before 5 in the morning when I was awakened by a cry from outside. I was instantly awake, trying to fathom what made the outcry, when it came again.
Oh, succor, help someone!
Holmes sprang out of his bed.
Get dressed, Watson. You may be needed.
Holmes was out in the streets in seconds. I followed not more than a minute later. The mayor, Mr. Harkham, appeared with a lantern and a coat thrown over his nightshirt.
You heard it too, then?
Yes. Seemed to come from up there.
Near the castle. Come on.
The 3 of us started up the street toward the castle. The lantern was our only light. Then, as the street curved, we saw a person crouched over a small form lying on the paving stones. Both figures were in black.
Hello? Who called out?
It was I, Monsieur Harkham. Look what has happened to my poor Emily. She has been struck down.
What do you mean?
Let me have a look at her. It's all right, my dear. I'm a doctor. I'm just going to see if there's anything...
She cannot hear you.
Well, that's right, she's deaf. This is the girl who works for Madame Planchette. Her name's Emily Proyne.
Who would do this to her?
Can you get her to tell us what happened?
I will try. Quel dommage, mon cher.
She uses a sort of hand language. See, that's how they talk, with gestures.
She was struck by a horse. She is telling me she could not hear it coming.
But who would be riding through town at this hour? And why was she on the street in the first place?
Oh, here, she's trying to stand up. Easy there, my girl.
Monsieur, are you a doctor?
Yes, I am. Dr. Watson from London.
Ah, très bien.
I suggest we get her indoors where you can examine her, Watson.
You are welcome to come to the castle. It is her home and mine.
After determining that the girl had no broken bones, I picked her up. The pitiful child clung to me as we made our way to a door set into the stone facade of the castle. Once inside, we entered a medieval chamber that might have once been a dining hall. The light was from a single candelabra. Here I got a good look at the child, for that is what she was. A slender girl the French would call a gamine, a street urchin, not older than 14, but no larger than 12.
Arthur, this town hates us, Monsieur Docteur. But who would run down an innocent girl? Zut alors!
I'll ask around the village, madam, and see if I can find out who was riding at this hour.
Well, I can't find any serious injuries. Perhaps there's a little bump on the head, but there's no lacerations.
How did you happen to find her, madame?
It came to me in a dream. I dream that Emily is lost. I awaken myself. I run to her room and, mon Dieu, she is not there. And so I go into the street and I see her in the road. Ah, monsieur, you are the detective, no? You are Monsieur Sherlock Holmes, no? Please, monsieur, I beg of you, bring peace to our little village.
And the woman impulsively threw her arms around Holmes, who bore it impassively, and then bade us good night.
So you got a good look at her, Mr. Holmes?
And at the girl. Very peculiar circumstances. If a horse galloped through this narrow street, why didn't I hear it? If the horse struck the girl, why didn't the rider stop? I'm a light sleeper, and I slept just beneath a window that opens right on the street, and yet I heard nothing until Madame Planchette cried out.
Yes, and I'm suspicious about the girl's injuries. I couldn't find any sign of a blow that would have knocked her unconscious.
Mr. Harkham, what time do the town pubs open?
Oh, there's only the one, and it opens at 11.
My wife spends £1 a week on us riding the horse, coming home with nothing but gossip.
Well, I know this much. Madame Planchette told me one of my cows is going sour, and she was right.
Aye, and she told my wife we had visitors coming, and my brother shows up the next week.
And somehow she knew Bart and his wife were calling it quits. She knows too much, is what I say.
Tell me, how does one go about getting a reading from Madame Planchette?
Well, you can't just walk up and say, "Hello there, madame. Look in your crystal ball and tell me what I'm having for dinner tomorrow."
Then, what would I have to do to engage her for a reading?
You go to the castle and sign up.
You put your name on the list and then you wait 2 days.
You mean to tell me you're going to have her give you a reading?
Oh, no, Watson. She's going to give you a reading.
Me? But I won't have anything to do with it.
I've already signed you up. Your appointment is 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. In the meantime, I plan for us to be quite busy in this little hamlet. I met some interesting people in the pub, and I interviewed them at some length. Now, I'm going to spend some time walking around Wycherley.
Well, I might as well come with you, I suppose.
As we walked out of the village, the townspeople we encountered gave us hardly a glance, but went about their work. The villagers sustained themselves much as their ancestors did for hundreds of years, with garden patches, fruit orchards, pastures with sheep, cows, and pigs. A slow-moving river curved through the valley, providing a means of taking produce to Whitechurch on market day. Holmes seemed to be in no hurry as we strolled along the fields, now fallow with the coming of winter.
I notice you looking behind us from time to time. Do you think someone's following us?
No, nothing like that. It's interesting, isn't it, how the castle dominates this little valley, physically as well as emotionally.
It's because of Madame Planchette.
And the little waif dressed in black.
Yes. Why would she have been out in the street at that hour?
Curious, isn't it?
Not running away, do you think?
No, I rather think she has something else in mind. We may know more after your meeting with Madame Planchette.
Holmes said no more, but from long experience I knew he was weighing various possibilities. I left him to his prowling the town and returned to the Harkhams at dusk. A pot of soup simmering on the stove and a loaf of bread baking in the oven filled the cottage with a savory aroma, promising a pleasant supper of simple country foods. But when supper time arrived, Holmes was still absent. I urged them to go ahead and eat, explaining that he often forgot his meals if he was on an interesting case. And about 8 o'clock, Holmes walked in.
Sorry I'm late.
Mr. Holmes, have you had an accident?
My own clumsiness, Mr. Harkham. I'm afraid I'm in need of a wash-up.
Whatever happened to you, Holmes?
I'll go to the pump and fetch the tub. Put the kettle on, Mother.
Come in the bedroom, Watson, and see if you can treat my scrapes.
If you need liniment, I have some.
Dr. Watson has his medical bag, Mrs. Harkham. I'm sure it's nothing serious.
What on earth happened, Holmes?
I found out one thing. Madame Planchette is well protected.
Trouser leg is torn. Oh, you've been bitten.
By a pair of sentry dogs. Strange no one in the village mentioned them.
Well, as soon as I can get hot water, I'll clean the wounds and apply some alcohol. What were you doing at the castle?
Trying to get to the top of the tower.
In heaven's name, why?
Because, with a telescope, she could peer into scores of houses below and observe the goings-on, which would explain some of Madame Planchette's remarkable readings. But unfortunately there are dogs guarding the outer walls, and I had no sooner started my climb than they pounced on me.
Holmes sponged off, and I treated the dog bites and bandaged them. He accepted a bowl of soup from Mrs. Harkham, and we went to bed shortly afterward. But I lay awake for some time, wondering what awaited me the following afternoon with Madame Planchette. Saturday dawned with drizzle and low clouds that seemed to brush the top of the castle. I inspected Holmes's wounds to see if they were infected, and they looked all right. He then told me in detail about his sojourn round the circular foundation of the old castle.
I noticed that the rough stone construction provided plenty of toe-holds, so I thought I'd wait until it was nearly dark and climb up the outside.
That tower must be 60 or 70 feet tall.
And slippery with moss, as I found out. That was when the dogs appeared and attacked me. It is imperative that I get into that tower, for that will solve most of the mystery of Madame Planchette's strange power.
Most of the mystery?
That is where you come in, Watson. I can do nothing more until you meet Madame for your reading.
And what do you have planned for this afternoon?
A visit to a couple of the village shops.
And so, at 5:30 that afternoon, Madame Planchette admitted me once more to the hall where I had examined the deaf girl, Emily. As before, there was a table with a lighted candelabra in the center of it. The rest of the enormous room was in darkness. The young girl was nowhere in sight. Madame Planchette placed an Ouija board on the table and rested a small, heart-shaped pointer on it. The board, lettered in French, appeared to be very old.
You must have the suspicions, Dr. Watson.
Well, I am a man of science, madame, and I don't hold with the supernatural.
Believe me, Doctor, I understand. Sometimes I myself do not believe what I can do. But when one has the gift, it must be shared, n'est-ce pas? Now, rest the tips of your fingers on the planchette, and I will do the same. Gently, gently.
Yeah, all right. Like this.
Bon. Now, what would you like to know?
Very well. Tell me, madame, where is my wife today?
Where is your wife today?
Well, now what are you doing? You're making the planchette go round in circles.
It is not moi, Doctor. It is the spirit.
Spirit? Whose spirit?
Of your wife. For you have had 2 wives, no? And they are both dead. Is it not true? Attendez. The planchette says oui. Both of your wives are dead. Which one do you ask about?
Well, you have me there.
Ah, I feel the spirit again.
What are you doing now?
I am doing nothing. Relax your fingers. Let the planchette talk.
What's it doing?
Hush! It is spelling out the message. Oh, Monsieur Médecin, this is very bad news.
What? I can't read what it's pointing to.
Monsieur Médecin, oh, Doctor, you are in grave danger.
Rubbish. What does it say?
It says, you must beware your traveling companion.
Why?
Because he will kill you.
Oh, now see here.
It is not I who says this. It is your wife, Mary, speaking through the planchette.
What?
The message. It comes from your wife, Mary. Is that not her name? Oui. And she wishes you to go back to your practice. Do you know what this means, Doctor?
I think I've had about enough of this. What do I pay you?
£2.
£2. Very well. Wait a minute. Where's my wallet? Oh, here it is. It's odd. I never carry it in that pocket. All right, here you are. This was all very entertaining.
Merci. But now, you are still in doubt, the planchette. I warn you, Doctor. This man with whom you travel will put your life at risk. You must be very careful. What is that?
Madame, come quick. It's the girl.
What is the matter?
Just come on.
Watson!
Holmes, how did you get inside?
I'll explain later. Follow me to the tower.
Holmes led the way to a circular stairway, and up we climbed. At each of the 6 landings was a mighty bolted door. Finally, we reached the 7th level, which gave into a circular room with 4 windows.
From here, you can observe every building in the village, and... Ha! Look here!
It's a telescope. My word, it's 4 feet long if it's an inch.
Mounted on a swivel so it can be trained on any object below. Let's try it out. Yes, here, have a look.
Huh? You've aimed it at the Harkham's cottage. Holmes, I can see right into their kitchen.
And there you have 1/2 of the answer to how Madame Planchette gets her information. She spies on the whole village.
1/2? What about the other half?
Let me have that telescope again. Yes. By now, the Madame has found that Mayor Harkham's alarm was false, and here she comes, with Emily, marching back here to the castle. Let's go down and meet them.
So, we hurried back down the winding stairway to the main floor, just in time to face the furious Frenchwoman, the girl, and Mr. Harkham at the front door.
Well, I think we've solved it, Mr. Holmes.
Turn loose of me, you old blighter.
Well, so the girl can hear and speak. You're a miracle worker, Mr. Harkham.
Oh, it weren't me. I just done like you said, and sure enough, she started yelling at me.
What did you do?
I just made sure she heard me tell my wife the girl was an ugly little twit, and she couldn't take that. But I didn't really mean it, Emily.
Oh, let me go.
Give her to me. Get off my property.
With pleasure, Miss Flavey. Go to your mistress, Emily.
Come, Emily.
Then the child was part of the deception?
From the very first. Monique Flavey devised a plan to harvest gossip from the village, so she could appear to have psychic powers. So she had to convince the town that Emily had lost her hearing and speech, so she could send her through the streets to eavesdrop at house after house, picking up gossip. Nobody was suspicious, after all. Everyone knew she couldn't hear anything they were saying.
So that's how Monique Flavey knew what was going on in the town. And she must have heard me talking about my late wives.
Ah, but she also trained Emily to pick pockets. That's why she staged the little drama in the street, close to the Harkham's house. She assumed we'd rush to help, which gave Monique and Emily a chance to pick our pockets. Do you remember when you carried Emily into the castle? That's when she got your wallet, slipped it to Monique, and got it back to you in another hug. Monique hugged me and relieved me of my wallet, all very skillfully.
Then that's why I found my wallet in the wrong pocket. But Holmes, when did you realize the girl wasn't really deaf?
Before we ever met her.
What?
As we were running up the street. She heard us approaching and turned her head to see who it was. You missed that. And, in my wanderings through Wycherley this afternoon, I met the telegrapher who supplied her with the latest news from London, the bookshop owner who sold her the London papers every week. Oh, yes, and the butcher, who sold me 2 nice steaks to feed to the dogs and to keep them from feeding on me as I broke into the castle.
The Singular Affair of Madame Planchette was written and directed by Jim French and featured John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Also in our cast were Jeff Steitzer, Kate Fleming, and Ellen McLean. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and were used in stories and novels by him. Use of these characters in this radio series is by arrangement with the estate of the late Dame Jean Conan Doyle. This is Dennis Bateman speaking.
This is Dr. John H. Watson again. I shared many more adventures with Sherlock Holmes over the years, and I'll be happy to tell you another one when next we meet.
Oh, Tabby! Tabby!
Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson. When Sherlock Holmes opens a newspaper each day, he takes only a cursory glance at the front page, and then turns to the personal columns, the agony pages as he calls them, and begins clipping out certain items and pasting them into one of his bulging scrapbooks.
Did you find anything interesting this morning? In the papers?
Time will tell.
Did you see the one about the canaries?
What?
About the canaries. Someone selling canaries. Cheery little things. Always liked a room with a canary. Very little upkeep. Rather good company. Many families kept canaries in Australia when I was a lad, especially on the sheep stations, I imagine. Terribly lonely in the outback.
Do you want to buy a canary?
No. I was just mentioning there were canaries for sale in the paper.
If you want to have a canary, you have my blessing. If you keep it in your bedroom, and if it doesn't sing while I'm thinking.
Holmes, I wasn't suggesting we have a canary.
Good.
Well, that's settled then. Looks like the rain's let up for a while. I think I may go down and have a short walk. Anything I can get you?
No, nothing. Have a good walk.
I'll get it. Ah, yes, Mrs. Hudson.
This wire just came from Mr. Holmes.
Bring it here, Mrs. Hudson.
Here you are. Will you be wanting to reply?
Yes. Hold off your walk, Watson, and you can take my reply to the telegraph office. Where's my pencil? Here, 1 minute, please.
I think it stopped raining.
Yes, I think it has.
It was raining buckets when I went to market this morning, but if I was to have waited until it let up, who knows what would be left to pick over at the greengrocer's. The early bird catches the worm, say I.
Here you are, Watson.
You want me to take it to the telegraph office?
As quickly as possible, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Was the telegram an inquiry of some kind?
Read it. And thank you, Mrs. Hudson. We won't detain you further.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Mr. Sherlock Holmes, 221B Baker Street, London. Urgently require your presence my home before 4:30 p.m. Stop. Expecting villainy. Your fee no object. And it's signed Edward Bardsley, Leaside Lane, Luddingston, Kent. Expecting villainy? What kind of villainy?
As it happens, I think I may know, thanks to my scrapbook of clippings.
Really?
Yes. And if one believed in it, this sequence of events would be persuasive evidence of fate. I've just read the 4th advert from Bardsley in the morning's paper. Evidently, someone's replied to his ad, and he's concerned about who's coming to visit.
Really?
Go on. Get my reply on the wire. It's close on 1:30 now. Then come back, and I'll tell you what I think Mr. Bardsley is all about, and why we're going to see him.
Well, we made it. Now, perhaps you'll tell me what intrigues you about this.
In my daily perusal of the agony columns, I look for unusual stories.
I know.
This fellow Bardsley has been running the same ad in at least 3 of the papers for a week now. Here's today's.
You brought it with you?
It reads, any person in possession of an ancient partial map may find interested buyer. Write particulars to Bardsley in care of this newspaper.
A partial map?
And what can that mean? That Bardsley has just a part of a map and wants the rest of it? If that's the case, why wouldn't he go to a shop that sells maps and buy himself a new one? Answer, because the map is very rare and valuable. And he says he's expecting villainy, presumably from the person who answered the ad.
Well, that much should be pretty plain. The person who's coming to answer the ad has the missing map piece and may want Bardsley's half of the map badly enough to take it from him by violence. Of course, if that's it, he should have called in the police.
Police don't prevent crimes. They only show up after the fact. You did bring your pistol, didn't you?
The train pulled into the station at 4:10, and among the few people waiting on the platform was a well-turned-out older man, sporting a splendid white goatee and a moustache, who was scrutinizing the handful of debarking passengers. When his eyes fell upon us, he seemed to know us straightway, and came forward.
Would you by chance be Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson?
We are. And would you be Mr. Bardsley?
Yes. So we meet. So good of you to come on short notice and with so little to go on in the way of information. Come, gentlemen. Let's get into my carriage and I'll tell you everything as we drive.
His stride was that of a quick and forceful man. He led us to a closed four-seat carriage, and we sank into plush velvet seats as the driver clucked at his horses and we pulled away into a lane.
Now, you no doubt have already reasoned that the object of my quest is the missing piece of a treasure map.
A treasure map? I thought so.
Oh, you're quite right to be skeptical. So was I. In my travels around the world, I've been sold everything from the Brooklyn Bridge to the Taj Mahal. A man with a thick purse is fair game just about everywhere, I reckon. But I'm bright enough to keep from being gulled. So, in the matter of the treasure map, rest easy. I found it without anyone selling it to me. Or, I should say I found 2/3 of it.
How is that?
Oh, you'll see it, but how I came upon it bears telling. Last year I spent some time on the Isle of Wight. Now, in November of 1782, during the huge storm in the winter of that year, a ship was wrecked on the southeast coast, a ship carrying gold to the colonies, worth something in excess of £750,000. That much is known, but local legend has it that before she went to the bottom, the ship's master took most of the gold ashore in the ship's dories. The island wasn't so built up then, and he had to find some place to hide the gold until he could come back for it. So he drew a map showing where the gold was hidden and took it with him into hiding.
Into hiding? Why was he hiding?
Well, because he wanted Lloyd's to think he was dead along with the crew. They'd insured the ship and her cargo. The underwriters wouldn't settle the claim if it was known that any of the gold would be retrieved. So the ship's captain laid low until Lloyd's wrote off the vessel and her cargo, and then he started a new life, a rich man.
Of course, that would mean that there couldn't be any survivors to tell what really happened.
Ah, precisely. No sign of captain or crew has ever been found. I presume the captain killed any who survived the wreck.
Yeah, but this map...
A year ago, I bought a house on the island on Tennyson Down, intending to refurbish it for a summer cottage. Whilst we were looking about the place, my wife went down into the cellar to look around, and she came upon a sea chest, inside of which was a map drawn on a square piece of heavy paper. But part of it had been torn away. As you'll see when I show it to you, the map is worthless without the corner that's missing, because it requires 3 landmarks to triangulate the location of the gold. 2 of them are shown on the fragment I have. A 3rd one is on the missing piece. And that, in a nutshell, is what I'm after. The missing 3rd of the map, which will show the exact spot.
And so you placed notices in the papers?
Yes, as a last resort. And it wasn't long before they turned someone up.
The man who's coming here this afternoon?
Yes. I wired him a general description of my map, not giving away where I found it, and he responded within the hour. Now he's due on the 6:15 from London. But I wanted you to be here in plenty of time to plan for his arrival. Gentlemen, I have a queer feeling about this fella. Here, this is the telegram I sent in response to mine yesterday to the Times.
To the seeker, I am your man. If you are in possession of the rest of the artifact, one of us will obtain the whole of it. Wire your address, care of Wembley Court Telegraph. No third parties. And it's signed Holder.
What do you make of it?
He's trying to control the meeting. One of us will obtain the whole can only mean that he may intend to obtain your part of the map rather than the other way around. And no third parties could be interpreted as a business condition, no agents involved, or that he doesn't want a witness to any transaction.
Yes. Who is he to lay down such a condition? Well, we're arriving and the fellow will be here in just a couple of hours. Dash it, I should be thrilled by the prospect of getting my hands on the rest of the map, but I must say I've traveled the world on my own and done quite well. But I'm greatly relieved by your presence, Mr. Holmes, and yours, Dr. Watson.
The carriage turned through the gate of a driveway that led to a mansion. The persistent rain and low, dark clouds gave a feeling of foreboding to the great stone and timber dwelling. The Bosley Trophy Room was hung with specimens of many hunts that must have taken Edward Bosley all over Asia and Africa, by the looks of the mounted heads on the walls. A butler laid out a tea service from a wheeled table, but while Holmes and I had our tea, our host chose a tall whiskey and soda, which he drank as he paced about the room. I noticed his hands were shaking, whether from a medical condition or from the tension of the impending meeting. I couldn't tell.
Where do you keep your treasure map, Mr. Bosley?
In a safe place in my library.
Tell us what you've done in the year since you found it.
Well, I was intrigued, so I did some research. That's how I obtained the information I gave you about the shipwreck. Local people on the island knew of it, but of course not all of it was accurate. But when I went to Lloyd's and examined their records, I realized that the map might be genuine. The rest, about the disappearance of the captain and his crew, well, human bones are always turning up here and there on the island, so I made a connection.
And an excellent job of deduction. If the master of the ship did survive, he would have had to have help to bring that much gold ashore and hide it, and then he'd have had to be sure none of his helpers lived to talk about it, or take it themselves.
Yes, exactly. That was my reasoning. Well, I suppose it's time I showed you the map. Stay comfortable, gentlemen. I'll be right back. The library is just down the hall.
Something's bothering me. Suppose his theory about the captain is correct. Well, who's to say that the captain didn't go back and dig up the gold himself? He's had 100 years to do it.
Of course, Watson. It's highly unlikely there's any gold to be found now, 100 years later, if there ever was any to begin with. But that's not our concern. Our sole job today is to be sure there's no mischief about this impending transaction.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I wasn't invited to join you, but I didn't want to miss my chance to meet you. I am Olivia Bardsley.
Well, how do you do, Miss Bardsley? I'm John H. Watson, and this is Sherlock Holmes.
Miss Bardsley?
Not Miss, Mrs. Bardsley.
Mrs. Bardsley?
I am Edward's wife.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Edward's been so wrapped up in all this treasure map business, he probably didn't mention how badly I wanted to meet you.
I can see that was an oversight indeed.
How gallant you are, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson writes about you as if you don't care for women. I can't believe that. He must have made it up.
Oh, but I never meant to convey... Well, I certainly didn't mean...
If we must plunge into this subject, let it be at another time, Mrs. Bardsley. For now, I'm focusing my attention on the matter of the map your husband has acquired.
Oh, the map, of course. Well, these weighty matters are for men to deal with. I'll just retire to my feminine pursuits and leave the deductions to the men.
Olivia? Excuse me, gentlemen, I should have brought my wife in to meet you. She's keenly interested in your stories, Doctor. I should have introduced you.
Oh, we've already covered that ground, Edward. So nice to have met you both, gentlemen. I hope your visit will be a pleasant one. Perhaps we'll meet again.
I met her in San Francisco 3 years ago.
Charming.
Yes, well, here is the map, gentlemen. Now, note, down here in the lower right-hand corner, it says 13 November, 1782, the day after the shipwreck. You can see the missing part was torn away, starting in the lower left-hand corner and curving diagonally to within 3 inches of the upper right-hand corner. 4 inches up from the lower left corner is this heavy dot of ink labeled O. Then up here, about 3 inches down from the upper right, is another ink dot labeled with a 5-pointed star. And this line down between them is the West Yar River. Now, none of this tells me anything except that the third point of reference has to be the spot where the gold is buried, and without both parts of the map put together, there's no triangle and no way to find the gold. You follow, Mr. Holmes?
Your theory is perfectly lucid.
Well, what do you think?
Mr. Bardsley, I didn't come here to confirm the authenticity of your map. My field is criminal human behavior.
Yes, of course.
But I can tell you one thing. The tearing of the map didn't occur a century ago. It was far more recently done. The fibers along the torn edge are white and fresh, in contrast to the yellowed color of the map surface.
An hour passed. It grew dark outside, and 7 o'clock came. In a few minutes, a carriage pulled into the driveway. The driver jumped down from his seat and went to the back of the carriage and unstrapped a wheelchair, which he trundled to the side of the vehicle, then helped a slightly built man into it and rolled him up to the entrance to the house. Then, as the driver took the horse and carriage to the stable, the butler rolled the man into the trophy room where Bardsley, Holmes, and I waited. Under his left arm, the man held a leather portfolio.
I'm Edward Bardsley, the one who advertised in the paper.
I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Bardsley. My name is Frank Holder.
Welcome, Mr. Holder. Permit me to introduce you to some friends of mine who are staying the weekend. This is Mr. Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson.
Not the Mr. Holmes? Sherlock Holmes?
The same.
Why, this is an honor. Everyone knows you, Mr. Holmes, and Dr. Watson, your biographer. I've read practically everything you've written.
Really? Well, thank you.
Would you like something? Some sherry, a whiskey?
Perhaps later, after we've conducted our business.
Just as you say. Well, then, to business, right? You brought the item we've discussed in our telegram.
I have, but perhaps first you'll tell me exactly what you're looking for.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm looking for the missing piece of a certain old map I have. If you'll show me the piece you have, it should take me a little time to see if that's what I'm after.
And if it is?
If it is, I'm prepared to make you a generous offer for it.
And if your map matches the piece I have, I'm prepared to do the same, just as I said in my telegram. One of us will own the complete map, And the other will be considerably richer, hmm?
Well, that's an interesting situation. How did you come by this piece you have?
I bought it. And might I suggest, Mr. Bardsley, that before we enter into any negotiation, we ought to compare our two pieces to be sure they are indeed what we both hope they are?
Well, that's a sensible idea. If you'll excuse me for a moment, I'll get my map. I'll be right back.
Have you gentlemen seen this map of his?
Yes, he showed it to us this afternoon.
And is your presence in this house somehow connected with it?
Neither Watson nor I knew anything about it until today.
Still, you'll agree it's quite remarkable that England's most famous sleuth should attend this transaction, if there is to be a transaction.
Does that present a problem to you, Mr. Holder?
Oh, not in the least. I would only hope that you aren't here in a professional capacity, seeking a criminal.
I hope not, too.
Well, I'll get out my little memento.
Do you need any help with that portfolio?
No, thank you, Doctor. It's only my legs that have given out. Ah, yes. Here it is. Just a scrap, really. You've seen Mr. Bardsley's piece, huh? What do you think?
I couldn't venture an opinion.
Here we are. Let's compare them under the lamp here on this table.
I'll roll you over there.
Thank you.
All right. Here's my map.
And here's my part. And yes, well, they're a perfect fit. They match.
They do, don't they, Mr. Holmes? Doctor, what do you think?
Well, it's as plain as day. My piece was torn from your map.
And here's the third reference point. The triangle's complete. Oh, very good. I'll give you 1,000 for it tonight, here and now. Just hand your piece over and we're done.
And I'll give you £1,500 for your part.
2,000 for yours.
2,500 for yours.
Very well, 3,000. Well, Mr. Holder, by your silence, may I infer you will bid no higher?
I'm afraid I can go no higher.
Oh, pity. Well, you were a good sport. I'll write you a cheque for £2,500 and we're done. Then I insist you stay for dinner.
No.
What?
I won't sell it.
What do you mean you won't sell it? Your piece is nothing but a worthless scrap of paper without my map.
And your map will never find you the treasure without my worthless scrap of paper.
Oh, stop this nonsense.
Olivia, what are you doing here?
Trying to bring you both to your senses. Give me the map, Edward.
What do you want with it?
I'll lock it away while we sit down to a nice dinner like civilized people. How do you do, Mr. Holder? I'm Edward's wife.
Oh, charmed.
Come on, all of you, have some wine. Have a good meal.
Now, be careful with that.
I'll put it back where you keep it. Edward, show our guests to the dining room.